Verduga Hills High School, Lady Dons. This is our 3-on-3 zone defense. The peak dotted lines show 3 separate zones. 1, 2, 3. The pink circles show the areas where we will double team. If player number 1 drives left, player X1 will guard, player X2 will double team. Player X3 will put 1 foot in the paint. If player number 1 drives right, X2 guards, player X3 double teams. Player X2 puts 1 foot in the paint. If player number 1 passes the ball to number 2, X2 will close out. X1 will play halfway in between 1 and 2 in the passing lane. X3 will put 1 foot in the paint. If number 2 tries an inside drive, X2 will cover and guard. X1 will double team. If player number 1 passes to number 2, and number 2 tries a baseline drive, number 2 will close out. Number 1 will play halfway in between the passing lane. X3 will put 1 foot in the paint. When number 2 tries a baseline drive, it's number 2's responsibility to guard all the way to the basket. Number 1 will drop to the limit of the zone. Number 3 will slide to the limit of the zone. If number 1 pushes 2 to corner, X1 will follow and guard. 2 will push to the corner. X2 will close out. X3 will play to the limit of the zone. When X1 passes ball to X2, X2 will close out. X1 will play halfway in between 2 and 1 in the passing lane. X3 will slide to the limit of the zone. If X1 passes to number 3, X3 will close out. X1 will play halfway in between number 3 and number 1 in the passing lane. X2 will put 1 foot in the paint. If X3 tries an inside drive, X3 will guard. X1, will guard and double team. If X1 passes to player 3, X3 will close out. X2 will play halfway in between 1 and 3 in the passing lane. X2 will put 1 foot in the paint. If X3 tries a baseline drive, X3 will follow all the way to the basket. X2 will go to the limit of the zone. X1 will go to the limit of her zone. If player 1 pushes player 3 to corner, X1 will follow and guard. Player 3 will push to corner. X3 will play halfway in between. X2 will slide to the limit of the zone. X1 will guard. If player number 1 passes to number 3, X3 will close out. X1 will play halfway in between players number 3 and number 1 in the passing lane. X2 will slide to the limit of the zone.